between both sides, the Turkish and the Egyptian sides, were very in-depth, frank, and transparent. In his joint press conference, or in the joint press conference following the meeting, Shukri said that both countries have the political will to restore normal relations after the development of the past years, and precisely our top diplomat said that we are looking forward to everything that can benefit both countries, and that the meeting discussed all issues affecting bilateral relations and regional developments. Today we'll be focusing on this very particular stage the whole region is passing by, definitely this meeting of today, the restoration of ties between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and new developments are occurring in the geopolitical scene. So we'll be reading into the scene in our episode today. Before we delve into our discussion, let me first have a top story of the day. And Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Osama Askar, received on Saturday the visiting Qatari counterpart, Salim bin Hamad bin Aqil Al Nabit, and the accompanying delegation. An official reception ceremony was held for the Qatari official at the headquarters of the General Secretariat of the Ministry of Defense. The two officials reviewed the Guard of Honor and the national anthems of both countries. The meeting dealt with discussing issues of joint and mutual interest in light of the military cooperation ties, in addition to bilateral coordination and means to enhance them. The two chiefs of staff presided over the closing session of the first meeting of the Egyptian-Qatari Military Committee in presence of a number of commanders of the armed forces of both sides. During the meeting, Askar stressed Egypt's keenness to promote the military cooperation and exchange expertise with Qatar, referring to the consensus on the visions on joint plans for the benefit of the armed forces of the two brotherly countries. On his part, the Qatari Chief of Staff highlighted the importance of boosting the joint military drills during the coming period to achieve the mutual interests of the two countries. The two Chiefs of Staff also toured a number of military units. The meeting and the tour were attended by a number of Egyptian and Qatari military commanders and officers, as well as the Qatari ambassador to Egypt. Right, now we move on to some of the top Arab news that took place during this week, and we'll come back for more discussion.
Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abul Gheit said the Russia-Ukraine crisis will inevitably obstruct international community's efforts in pressing issues, including sustainable development. Abul Gheit was speaking at the inaugural session of the 2023 Sustainable Development Forum held in the Lebanese capital, Beirut. He said the redirection of big financial allocations to fund the war, while alleviating its repercussions, comes on the expense of international finances to sustainable projects and assistance allocated to poor regions badly in need of them. Abul Gheit renewed the commitment of the Arab League to exert more efforts to achieve aspired for sustainable development to all Arabs. Dozens of Israeli settlers stormed into the Magharaba gate of Al-Aqsa Mosque compound on Wednesday under heavy guard by the Israeli occupation forces, and a routine action seen as part of provocative policy to change the historical status quo of the mosque. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry condemned the continuous terrorist crimes by the Israeli occupation troops and settlers against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. In a statement, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry said that the Israeli government should stop all its unilateral illegal measures, adding that this move is the right path to restore a political ground for solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Palestinian prisoners detained in the Israeli occupation authorities' prisons continued their strike for the 32nd day, protesting the harsh measures of Israel's extreme right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, which sparked global condemnation. The Prisoners' Affairs Authority and club said in a joint statement that the strike will continue until a hunger strike is announced at the beginning of the month of Ramadan. Israeli protesters pressed ahead with demonstrations against a continuous government plan to overhaul the judiciary, pushing back against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after he rejected a compromise proposal that was meant to defuse the crisis. Netanyahu and his allies were set to barrel forward with their original plan despite weeks of mass protests and widespread opposition from across Israeli society and beyond, as well as warnings by Israeli President Isaac Herzog that Israel was headed towards an abyss. Last week, Netanyahu had to be airlifted to the country's main international airport for an overseas state visit after protesters blocked the road loading there, holding signs that read, "Don't come back." The United Arab Emirates National Security Advisor held talks in Abu Dhabi with his Iranian counterpart, whose visit to the UAE comes days after a surprise rapprochement between Tehran and Riyadh. The official WAM news agency said that Sheikh Tahnoun bin Zayed Al Nahyan, a brother of the United Arab Emirates president, received Ali Shamkhani, the secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. The two officials discussed bilateral relations and opportunities to advance them in a way that serves the mutual interests of the two countries. Sheikh Tahnoun previously met Shamkhani on a visit to Iran in 2021, the first trip of its kind since relations between the two countries were downgraded in 2016.